Beach House doesn't belong to Alex Moreno. Number 26 is owned by a company called Blue and White Holdings. The director of that company is Stephen Blakely.
Steve Blakely knew Moreno.
I have found dozens of photos of naked children taken in the same house. So the question is, did he know what Moreno was doing there?
We are going to be great parents.
Isn't that what everybody thinks?
Probably. You know, some of us have got to be right. Statistically.
Unfortunate when our private desires conflict with our public duties. I tread very carefully if I were you, Miss King.
Thank you for the warning, Judge Renmark.
Last night. You okay?
Fine.
Sorry, you're meant to be at Crime Command by 8:30.
You're right, Can you just...
Yeah, we'll be outside.
We've compiled a list of people who might hold a grudge against you.
Mostly crooks you've prosecuted. If you could help us narrow it down or maybe add anyone we've missed.
I don't need this. I know who did it. Alex Moreno.
What, you've secured a conviction against this?
He was acquitted.
What of?
He's a photographer. Grooming kids.
Photographer. Bombings like this, our first guess is always going to be gang
Do you
related.
have anything to suggest gang involvement?
Well, it's early days. Forensics will come back with the preliminaries
Right,
on
and I have a
bombs.
name now, Moreno. He was questioned about his connection with Stephen Blakely at my prompting. Within 48 hours, this came back at me.
Miss King, we appreciate your frustration.
No, you don't. Otherwise, you wouldn't be patronising me. You'd be out now, arresting Moreno.
Janet, we have nothing to link him to this
Then
crime.
find a link. I want you to do
it's
something.
Hard, but you have to trust us here, okay? We know how to do our jobs. Now, I will put Moreno on our list. But what I need you to do is go through all the potential suspects and start eliminating people. Then you leave the rest to us, okay?
All your bank accounts have been frozen. ATM cards stopped. If you need cash, just ask us. Your old mobile phone's been deactivated. You can use the prepays we supply. Otherwise, we're going to leave you alone here at work. It's a very secure building.
Not much to say at times like this.
Oh, really?
Bastards.
Yeah.
Look, are you up for a chat?
You're suggesting she go into hiding. Really, that's your solution?
What I'm saying is if you want her to be completely safe...
What I want is you to do your job and protect her. That's
Which
what I
is
want.
why we are here and not in your office. But if you want to be extra safe, we can always move her in the state.
No.
Just until the investigation...
Taking the politics of the situation, I'd just like to point out that someone tried to kill Janet with a bomb.
Our first priority. We will not be intimidated.
Well, assuming Ms. King agrees. Janet,
I can be with Ash and the kids.
We've got to complete a full risk assessment. A couple of weeks, a month at the most.
Something's wrong.
Let it go.
No, can't.
You're in the Blakely murder trial.
Someone's making porn at our beach house?
Yes.
Why should the automatic assumption be that my father had something to do with this? It could be anyone.
We believe the photo was taken with a hidden camera. The girl is Alex Moreno's daughter. Her father was the child groomer, the one Renmark acquitted.
The photographer.
Do you think our father's a child pornographer?
It might not be your father. It might be someone associated with him. This is what we're trying to establish. Renmark's judgments, can you look at them for me? I've got a header.
How are you?
Look specifically at sexual offences against minors, whether Renmark treats them any differently.
Okay. I was going to pop my head in before, but Tony said we should give you some space, so...
Richard.
How's Ash? Is she...
I'm just keeping track of who's in and who's out. Can you let me know when you'll be going over to see Justice Renmark?
No, I wasn't planning on seeing him at all.
Well, that is a courageous decision.
Sorry, courageous?
We all know silence can be interpreted as a sign that one has something to hide.
I don't have anything to hide about Janet now.
And I respect a man who's willing to take that chance, regardless of what his friends and colleagues may think.
All right, okay.
George! Give him someone!
Can you stay on your man, please, Jack? Stay on your man. Beautiful pass there, Connor. Can you...
I appreciate you seeing me.
Yeah, how are you? Did you find out who did it?
Not for sure. Look, Maya, we're both involved in this somehow. There's some sort of a connection, so I need your help.
I've told you everything that I know.
Have you? Because we had a conversation in my office and I saw something in you as some sort of a shift.
Was that the conversation when you accused my father of being a pedophile?
I know it's hard to come to terms with the idea of your father doing that sort of thing.
Oh, do you think?
I'm trying to make sense of this.
Yeah. How can you be so on our side one day and then just so against us?
It's not a matter of being for or against. There are people trying to kill me.
And that's my dad's fault? Oh, no, wait, he's dead, so that makes it hard.
There's still a connection.
That is bullshit. It's bullshit.
I know I've asked you this before. But please, if you know anything at all about Alex Moreno, you need to tell me. Both our families are being attacked by someone, and I'm sure he has something to do with it. I just don't know what his involvement is.
Can't help you. I can't help you. Okay, push him left, Jack, please.
Mitchell, over here. John, pass it back. Hi, Jack.
Okay, stay on your man, Connor. This is not a good day for you.
Leave you to it.
Hello? Hi.
God, it's so good to hear your voice.
You too.
Are you okay? Safe?
How are the kids? Good. I mean, they're a bit ratty, but they miss you.
So, where are you staying?
I'm not supposed to say.
No.
Me neither. I forgot. Do they have any ideas yet about who might have done this? Not yet.
Do you have any ideas?
I thought I did, but I don't know. So, what's the plan? I mean, how long do we have to stay in these places?
I don't know, Ash.
I don't know.
Have you had dinner?
Oh, my minder bought me some Thai.
Nice.
Looks oily. You should go to them.
They'll keep for a moment.
Ash, I'm so sorry about your job.
Oh, God.
About everything, about the way this has come out.
It'll be all right.
In the end, it'll be all right. I put the kids on, but the last thing you need right now is a burst tantrum. I love you. Me too. And you'll see, it won't be long.
Terrific. Now to each other. Big smiles. Yep. Just relax for a second. There's a champagne in the car. I'll just be a couple of minutes.
The artist at work.
Yes. So those details I gave you about the real estate agent that handled the rental, beach house, that'll check out okay?
As far as I know.
So I rented a house and some creep photographed my daughter. We're the victims here, right?
That's the theory, yeah.
So what are you doing here?
Well, you said on the night Steve Blakely died that you drove down to Coogee, walked your dog all by yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
And toll tags show us that you do that trip pretty regularly.
When I can.
But on the night Blakely was murdered, you didn't use the tollway.
I probably went a different way.
Yesterday between 7 and 9 p.m, where were you?
Why?
Well, it's just a straightforward question, Alex.
We've got an exhibition on at the North Sydney Gallery of Modern Art. It was my opening night yesterday. I was doing a Q&A in front of about 100 guests. So can I get back to work now?
You ever think about which way you drove down to Coogee? I mean, you'd be amazed what we can do these days to prove which way a vehicle travelled. Or didn't travel.
I'm sorry about my behaviour yesterday. After I went home, I kept thinking about what you said.
I appreciate that. There you go.
You think my father was cooperating with this Moreno person?
In some way, yes.
So if that's right, there could be more people involved.
It's possible. Maya.
There are some things that happened to me when I was little. There was a couple, the Nelsons, they used to babysit us. And my mum and dad did the same for their kids when the Nelsons had something on. Mr. Nelson, Keith, did things to me.
How long ago was this?
I remember the first time it happened, I was wearing my fairy penguin pyjamas, and they were still really new, and I got them for my 7th birthday, so...
And Mr. Nelson, he was a friend of your father's, or...?
Well, I went to preschool with Becky, his daughter, so Mum and Dad, they met them there, and, yeah, we were all really close for a while. I even called him Uncle Keith.
And you've never told anybody about this?
I wanted to forget it. I mean, what point is there? Really, in digging all of these things up. And then you said that stuff about my dad. And I started wondering about whether maybe he knew. Because later, in my teens, Dad, he looked after me a lot, and he taught me to be really strong. And now I just don't know if that was because he knew, or if it's just that he sensed that I was really struggling. I don't know.
Moreno rents Stephen Blakely's holiday house. Moreno's daughter gets photographed there by hidden cameras, probably installed by Blakely. Now it turns out that Blakely's daughter has been sexually assaulted for years by one of his best mates, who is now a senior executive in the public service.
Well, it could be a coincidence.
Bullshit. We've got a child pornography ring involving a prominent group of people, with Stephen Blakely in the centre. Okay, things go wrong with his dying wife. Suddenly he's facing jail. His associates get nervous that he might talk.
And they try and shut him up. Possible?
Oh, it's possible.
And then I start wondering where Moreno was on the night that Blakely was killed and our car gets bombed. There's your conspiracy.
Well, Moreno has an alibi for that night. And Moreno, Nelson... There's no histories of violence. God knows where they go to get explosives.
Well, they hired someone.
Well, it is bloody hard to see how. I mean, there's nothing in Moreno's phone records or bank records to back that up.
Nelson arranged it.
Janet, if I go to Terry Renner with this without any evidence, he is going to call me crazy and laugh in my face.
Then go over Renner's head.
Where I'll get the exact same reaction, only without the laughter.
Keith Nelson is a highly respected public servant.
Who's got a lot to lose?
Once he's charged, come under pressure, he'll want to make a deal. He will have to name names.
Yeah.
But Janet's conspiracy theory does sound far-fetched, and Nelson does have friends and contacts in the media. So until we have some concrete evidence, I suggest it's just a sex crime and we keep this discussion to ourselves.
You're accusing me of things that supposedly happened 15 years ago without any evidence, and you expect me to take them seriously?
They're serious allegations.
15 years. Maya Blakely was a child at the time, a small child.
I understand
Bloody witch hunt. The Blakeleys are both dead. You expect me to what?
Mr. Nelson!
Just leave me hanging.
Mr. Nelson, are you refusing to cooperate with this investigation? I'm going to put the question to you again. Did you engage in sexual activity with Maya Blakely when she was a minor?
Never. Anybody who says I did is a fucking liar.
Now, forensics is still trawling through his computers, but it's not looking promising. However, we did find this in his desk in a locked drawer. A 32-gig USB stick.
Full of child porn?
Completely empty. Now, when I say empty, I mean really empty. Like, forensics can usually retrieve images even when they've been deleted, but this has been scrubbed using very sophisticated software.
So it's Nelson's word against Maya's?
Not quite. In her statement, Maya described an identifying mark on Nelson's penis, a birthmark. shaped like a map of England. I know it sounds strange, but I remember thinking of the map on the wall at school.
Well, that's your case. If Maya's right and he has a mark like that.
How do I find that out? Pants him in front of the jury?
Maybe you should get a search warrant.
Can you get a warrant for a man's undies?
Well, it's got to be a court order, I suppose. Well, it's still 15 years old. I mean, it makes it extremely difficult.
It's winnable.
OK, well, if you're so passionate about it, why aren't you running it?
Janet was the first one to hear Maya's story.
Oh, so you're a witness.
But I told her we'd put our second best person on it.
Flattered. I hope you can stick around so I can pick your brain as this evolves.
No, I'm flattered.
Well, I might be just looking for someone to share the blame if it doesn't get up.
So now we just sit back and allow things to take their course. Agreed?
Agreed.
Things only get to my desk when the damage is done. I can't make any difference at all. I'm completely impotent. I'm gonna wait till I get the fuck away from her. That's what you did now, like you said, you're a filthy fucking rapist.
My letter of resignation. I thought I should make it easy for you.
Well, perfectly honourable course of action.
I thought so too. I've made us all look terrible.
Oh, well, you're barely an apprentice at that pastime. Janet's had a crack. Tracy's month in court was a standout, and my performance in the Vasilic appeal was definitely a podium finish. You made a mistake. We all do. Learn from it.
I don't trust myself anymore.
Well, I trust you, and I outrank you. Consequently, I decline to accept this. In fact, a brief's just come in. Sexual assault minor, 15 years old.
Oh, please, Tony, if I'm staying, at least transfer me out of sex crimes.
What? To what? Homicide. First grisly murder that comes in, you'll be begging to get out of that too. Next thing, you're a wasted talent doing drink driving and contestant speed fines. What you did out of passion. And we need more of that around here, not less. You'll hear from Tracy about that brief. You make sure it goes to trial.
Richard, going in.
Yeah. What did you,
Oh, nothing. One hug, that's all I saw. Completely innocent. Be careful, though. He's a tricky bastard.
So, Mr. Sterling, you've worked with Miss King and Mr. Shaughnessy a number of times, is that correct?
I suppose so.
Is it a matter of supposition?
No, it's a fact.
And how would you describe their relationship?
Professional. Very professional.
Others I've spoken to have said they're extremely close.
Well, yes, extremely close in a professional sort of way. I mean, friendly, you know?
Just friendly?
No, I guess, well, Erin virtually delivered Janet's baby, so maybe more than just friendly.
Delivering someone's babies? I'd call that intimate.
I suppose so. Well, obviously, at one level, it's extremely intimate. It's an intimate experience, birthing babies, and if you do that with someone, it inevitably gives rise to a kind of intimacy, obviously.
So initially you described their relationship as professional, but now you'd like to revise that to extremely intimate.
So you went and talked to Renmark, so what? As long as you told him the truth, there's no need to apologise. Is it?
Of course I told the truth, but it's all about emphasis, and my emphasis was less than ideal.
You worry too much. Anyway, on the subject of Renmark.
Yes, I went through all his old judgments, everything since he went to the bench. My office?
Okay.
I didn't find anything unusual in the sexual assaults in that they conform to the overall trends, but it's the trends themselves that are bizarre. I've graphed it all by year, and in his first few years at the bench, there's no strong trend. The acquittal to conviction ratio is about average. But then, the Criminal Procedure Act is amended, massively increasing the number of judge-only trials, and suddenly he's acquitting just about everyone.
Well, I thought he was pro-prosecution.
Oh, that came later. In the first few years after the Act was amended, he was the exact opposite.
Your interpretation?
Well, for a lazy judge hearing a case without a jury, the easiest option is to acquit. I mean, there's no appeal, so the decision's far less likely to come under scrutiny, and you don't have to spend hours drafting a judgment.
You're home for an early dinner.
Exactly. But what's interesting is that then his record changes again, and suddenly he's convicting everyone that comes before him.
So there's nearly 100% conviction rate for the last 18 months until Moreno.
It could be explained away as a statistical variation.
No, it's more than that, it has to be. And what do you mean by weird? I mean, how can we know it's weird unless we compare the judgments with the evidence?
You want me to troll through the trial transcripts in detail and look for any specific irregularities?
Richard, I know it's a huge and tedious job.
Tedious? I already made a start just out of personal interest.
At the very least, it suggests a judge who's pursuing a personal agenda.
That's not an agenda, that's corruption.
How'd you get onto this, Janet?
Danny Novak made a comment about Renmark's decision in Moreno.
And what is it that Mr. Novak had to say?
It was extremely vague, but he implied the result in the case was dodgy.
Why tell you?
He knew you had him in the frame for Stephen Blakely's murder. He said he had nothing to do with it and suggested I find out how Moreno was acquitted.
Then you just believed him?
Well, I wasn't sure at first. But then I asked you guys to look into Moreno, and next thing I know, my car blows up outside my fucking house and nearly kills my entire family. So yes, funnily enough, I am inclined to believe him. So let's just assume for a moment, okay, that Renmark's decisions weren't based on the evidence in front of him, but to please someone else. Was someone paying him or blackmailing him?
A senior New South Wales public official corrupted? Not entirely without precedent. And who gains by having all these idiots convicted?
I'm sure the police are on top of the list.
Or a policeman.
Well, since we're playing hypothetical, sure. And back in the 80s, we would have been the #1 suspects. I think if anyone in Crime Command had a judge in their pockets these days, even Steve Blakely, I would have heard a whisper about it somewhere down the line.
Fair point.
So forget us. Let's ask the important question. Who are the really good corruptors?
Well, organised crime, but wouldn't they want their mates acquitted?
Mates. They dog each other all the time. The Danny Novaks of this world want to eliminate enemies, get rid of competition.
Well, politically sensitive business going after a judge.
Sure is, which is why I'm going to need something very concrete before I launch into a formal investigation.
Well, when I get it, I'll be back.
And Janet, thanks for coming to me with this.
See? You're walking into court just like you've done a million times. No one's giving you a second glance. You'll be fine.
I feel like a kid going back to class after detention.
You can handle it. And when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, just stay detached. And you just deal with the facts of the case, that's all. And hey, if you think your job's bad, just remember, when you win this court order, I've got to watch a guy get his dick photographed. Yeah, I think we know who's got second prize in this one today.
Given Miss Blakely's clear recollection of such an identifying mark, we make application of the court to grant an order under the Forensic Procedures Act, requiring Mr. Nelson to undergo an intimate bodily examination, specifically of his penis.
Your Honour, Mr. Nelson is an upstanding citizen and family man whose reputation has already been severely damaged by these allegations, and now he's expected to submit to an unnecessary and humiliating bodily exam without any reasonable basis.
It'll be carried out by a qualified forensic medical officer. No more humiliating than an ordinary trip to the doctor.
Well, I'm not sure what relationship my learned friend has with his doctor, but mine does not take photographs of my genitalia.
Your Honour, the complaints Miss Blakely has made relate to events which took place a long time ago. It is simply impossible to assess the veracity of her account without the examination we request. Something which Mr. Nelson should also welcome if he is indeed innocent of the charges.
Yes, point taken, Mr. Crown. These allegations are serious, and consequently I grant the order as specified in the Act.
Hey, can I sit?
Do your mate want to join us?
Oh, he likes standing. Hey, well done. They wheeled out the big guns and you didn't flinch.
Come on, Sinclair or no Sinclair. If we couldn't handle a warrant application, we'd really be in the shit, wouldn't we? Andy. Yes, mate.
Yeah, fresh off the press, medical officer's report on Nelson. Yeah, the left side of the penis presents with a 28 by 13...
28 by 13 millimetre. Laterally oriented capillary vascular malformation, commonly called strawberry birthmark.
Okay, what about the rest?
And what about the shape, mate?
Mate, if I hung this next to my desk, people would think I was planning a trip to the old country.
We're on. Yeah. No, great. Thanks, mate.
Yeah. Hey, can we get a copy of this sent straight over to the DPP? Yep. Mark at attention of Owen Mitchell.
And I've got your mate Alex Moreno here. Says he wants to make a statement about Stephen Blakely's murder.
All right.
That night, I didn't go to Coogee.
So you are retracting your previous statement?
Yeah. But if I tell you the truth and I can back it up, no one needs to know, do they?
Where were you, Alex?
A brothel.
At exactly the time Blakely was killed.
But so he was previously too coy to bring this up? Preferred to be a suspect in a murder investigation?
The place is called Barely Legal. It specialises in Asian girls that look underage.
Not a venue one attends with pride.
His story checks out 100%.
The girl he was with remembers him, and there's credit card records, a secret card he uses for special occasions.
So where does this leave us?
Oh, I think the expression is buggered.
The story on the rental of Blakely's house is solid.
It's rubbish.
But it's solid rubbish now that he's got an alibi for the murder.
I told you he could have hired someone, or one of his co-conspirators may have done it.
Okay, but we have been all over this guy, and there is no evidence for that.
And on the attempted murder of my family, no evidence there either?
Terry Renner's looking into the organised crime.
This has nothing to do with a drug deal I put away 5 years ago. I started scratching at Moreno, and they came straight back at me.
There is not one scrap of proof, Janet, that there is any day.
Because your people are too incompetent to find it.
Janet, none of these theories are any use unless we have proof, and the best way to do that is still with getting Keith Nelson committed to trial and getting him to talk. Now, just step back and allow that trial to take its course.
Could I bend your ear for a sec? I was just wondering, my brother's got a small legal problem with the job contract at the moment. I thought if you wanted a bit of a break from the big stuff and you didn't mind helping, of course.
Can't, sorry. I don't know that much about commercial law.
No problem.
Sorry.
Just don't get why you want to do this.
Oh, thanks for your support.
I'm saying this for your sake.
Really? Because I don't think you finally want me to get over it.
If you want to get over it, go to a psychiatrist. Don't go to court. Fuck! Lawyers always bully you into going into court, and then what? They're going to call you a liar all day. They're going to pick apart every mistake that you make, go through everything that ever happened, whatever did happen.
Well, it happened.
Okay, you know what? It happened.
You don't think it happened?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
Happened. Don't touch me.
Going to court isn't going to help you get over it.
Hey. Are we okay here?
Yeah, we're fine.
Are you all right?
He thinks that you're making me do this so that you can have a big win.
What do you think?
Miss Blakely, have you read your statement?
I have.
Is it true and correct?
Yes.
Attend to the statement of Miss Blakely in evidence. No further questions, Your Honour.
The statement of Miss Maya Blakely will be Exhibit A.
Miss Blakely, the events you describe in your statement allegedly took place between 1998 and 2001.
That's right.
And at that time, how would you describe the relationship between Mr. Keith Nelson and your family?
He was a family friend.
Your parents trusted him, didn't they?
Objection. Your Honour, Miss Blakely's parents are deceased. She can't be expected to say what their precise attitude towards Mr. Nelson was, given she was only 7 years old at the time.
I will restate the question. Your parents regularly relied upon Mr. and Mrs. Nelson to babysit yourself and your brother, didn't they?
That's right.
And they wouldn't have kept doing that if they had the slightest reason to think that there was anything untoward going on, would they?
No, no.
They wouldn't have done it if you or your brother had ever expressed any qualms whatsoever about the Nelsons, would they?
Probably not.
Yet the arrangement lasted for 3 years, only ending when the Nelsons moved interstate for a time, isn't that right?
Yes.
And you know the reason why, don't you?
Because I never said anything.
And you are now 23. Yet even as an adult, as an educated, professional woman, you never said anything. Not for 15 years. Because nothing ever happened, did it?
No. When I was a child, I was really scared.
You were scared of Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Marion Nelson, Mr. Nelson's wife, also submitted a statement regarding her recollections, and she says she thought you were very fond of her husband. She says, in fact, and I will quote her, she says, "I rather thought Maya had a crush on Keith." Is that the way you usually show fear?
I was nice to him. Because I thought that I had done something wrong. And I thought that that was his way of punishing me. Okay.
I'm told you did a wonderful job in there.
He was staring at me the whole time. Just like he used to.
And now he's been committed to trial thanks to you.
Do you know, I think Drew might have been right because I feel a lot worse now. You know, I was happy. I'd packed all this away and I'd gotten on with my life. Everything they say that you were supposed to do, I had done it.
Had you? It will help Maya when he's convicted.
I can't do that again.
Yes, you can. You haven't stopped him yet. There's still the trial.
I can't do that again.
Please, you can't back out now, for your sake.
I can't.
Don't let him beat you again.
Well, I mean, what else can I do? I'm going to have to deny it.
No.
Our case is built on Maya's account.
Without her, I'm dead in the water.
We can't let Nelson just walk out of remand.
OK, let's load him up then. I'll make a call, get a kilo of dope found in his pocket. That should fix the prick.
You think he's got some other information about me and the car bomb?
That explains a bit. You spoke to Maya. Do you think she's going to change her mind?
No, but Nelson's been committed for trial. We can buy some time. Police can put some pressure on him. Maybe he'll give something up.
How are we going to buy some time? The case against him's fallen down. The minute Nelson finds out...
What if he doesn't?
You mean, what if we don't notify the court that Maya's withdrawn from the case?
We have to, don't we?
So far, we're the only ones who know about it, right? So as far as I'm concerned, it's just a hiccup. Witness with cold feet. Nothing to bother the court
Oh,
with.
God, Janet.
Look, and if Maya doesn't change her mind, fine. We'll let them know. A few days before the trial date.
You weren't here, right? You didn't hear a thing.
Going now.
I'm just asking for a bit more time. A week, maybe 2.
Yep, you got it.
You leaving early?
I'm off to get my fertility results.
Oh, they wouldn't tell you on the phone?
Well, they said I had to come in. What's the worst it can be? Even if I can't have kids, I'll always have my job, hey?
Has Andy done his?
48 million sperm per milliliter with 90% classes grade A, showing highly progressive motility.
I bet he's learnt that off by heart.
Plans on getting a tattoo of it next week.
Listen, Tracy spoke to me today. Considering you helped me out with collage, she asked if I wanted to take Clark off you.
Oh.
Is that okay?
Oh, I guess someone's got to finish it.
Looks like that someone's me.
It's completely revolting.
I bet.
Don't look at the photos. You don't have to. The whole thing's pretty much wound up anyway. Just got to wait for Mrs. Moreno to get back from her trip from overseas, get her into court to prove that Ruby's underage.
Tracy's exact words were, I'm only giving you matters that'll be quickly resolved because I doubt you'll be around long. She's the absolute master of genteel malice.
Yeah, years of practice. I've got to go.
You'll be fine. Ring me.
The good news is there's no sign of any physiological fertility issue.
Thanks. You hear about this sort of thing dragging on for years.
I can't rule that out, I'm afraid.
Sorry?
Given that you've been trying for so long and the efforts you've gone to, we would class you as having a fertility problem.
But you just said that I
said we'd found no physiological symptoms. My diagnosis for you is idiopathic infertility. It's infertility with no obvious physical cause.
So, what can you do for that?
Unfortunately, very little. Even so, I would encourage you to keep trying.
Hi.
We haven't really talked since.
No.
So, how's it going? I mean, Ash and the kids, are they?
As well as can be expected. And you?
Stopped watching the news. That helped. As long as I don't Google S1EP6 scandal, life's almost back to normal. I don't suppose you've heard anything about when Renmark's going to decide it?
No, I've had other things on my mind.
Of course.
Oh, look, my minder has to knock off in an hour and I have to be safely locked away, so...
You bet. I shall go home too.
Okay.
Ready to roll?
I can't go back to that place tonight.
Not a lot of choice, I'm afraid.
I just want to see my kids and Ash. I don't even know where you've got them.
Somewhere safe. You want to keep them safe, we need to follow the rules.
Well, I haven't seen them since it happened.
Look, maybe I can arrange for a visit tomorrow night after work, okay? If you feel like company, you can have a friend over as long as they check out with security. Tonight.
Thanks.
There's only one thing worse than being talked about, and that's not being talked about.
Oh, it didn't do Oscar Wilde much good, did it?
You know, this place isn't as bad as you said. Okay, it's worse. Still, safe, I guess. Hence the name, Safe House.
Oh, it's a prison. Every minute of the day, I have this escort that ferries me around from here to work and back again. Ash asked me when I thought it might end, as if there was some obvious end point, but...
Well, there is. They'll catch the guy who did this.
Will they? What if they don't? How does it end then? I mean, we have small children. When do we decide that it's 100% safe for them? Month? Year? 10 years? You know, when I was 7, my family moved to Sydney from Perth. And my dad gave us this lecture about how we had to treat it as an adventure and how he knew us kids would make the most of the opportunities. And then my sister did fine, but I don't know, I just got off on the wrong foot at school and I didn't make any friends, so every lunchtime I would wander around the playground by myself. But all I could think about was how I had let my parents down and wasted the opportunity they'd given me. Loneliness and shame.
There's nothing to be ashamed of.
No. I have been blessed with this perfect family, and I put them all in danger.
Janet, that's not your fault.
It doesn't matter whose fault it is. They nearly died because of me. That's all that matters.
You don't have to feel alone. I'm here. You're not alone. Sorry.
I think it'd be better if you go. I'll call you a taxi, yeah?
No. I'm fine. I'll see you later.
Excuse me, Owen. You prosecuted Crown against Giannopoulos 2011?
Yeah, murder case. Small-time drug dealer fired into a car, claimed he didn't know anyone was in it.
In Judge Renmark's judgment, he cites Crown against Sharp. He implies the defence relied on the case.
No, the rule in Sharp didn't apply to the facts.
No, it doesn't.
Hey, Richard. I'm going for Silk right now. I certainly hope no one's appealing the decision.
Oh, no, it's not that.
Something about Renmark?
Yes, I'm just doing some research for Janet. Thanks for your help.
I can't wait to see you, Ash. I'm leaving right now. Okay, bye.
Sorry, Janet, I need to speak to you.
Okay,
it's
deep
important.
breaths,
He's clever. He chooses his opportunities carefully. He twists things just as much as he needs to.
Renmark?
See, unless you're really looking, you wouldn't bat an eyelid, but that's the clever part.
He's cooking his judgment.
Like a judicial souffle.
Can you prove this?
It's all here. The concrete stuff. Quoting obit a dicta that doesn't exist. Distorting facts in old cases that no one's read.
Except you.
So you could put it down to sloppiness, but there's this case that Owen appeared in where Renmark has completely misrepresented the defence's argument. There's only one way to interpret it, and that's an attempt to subvert justice.
Thank you. One way or another, they're all connected. Blakely, Nelson, Moreno.
And Renmark?
Renmark, especially Renmark.
Now you got the evidence?
Yes.
And all those dodgy statements, they relate to sexual assault?
No, there are all sorts of things. Look, I don't claim to know exactly what's going on here, but you needed something concrete before you could start a formal investigation, and here it is.
Thanks. Now, who else knows about this?
Andy and one of our solicitors, Richard Sterling.
You trust him?
Absolutely.
That's it, no one else?
No one.
And the file?
2 copies. This one and there's one back in my office.
Okay. I want you to go back to the office. I want you to lock it up. I'll talk to Andy. I want you to talk to this Sterling fella. Tell him to shut up. If we're going to go after a district court judge, no one else can know anything. Otherwise, we won't get anywhere.
Okay.
You realise this could sink us both.
I can't go much deeper. Sorry if I'm dragging you down with me. Thanks, Jack. I need to go back to the DPP for a moment.
Oh, we're already 30 minutes late.
I'll be quick.
Miss King, what dedication, working so late.
And you, I presume?
I was just congratulating Tony on how cooperative everyone's been. So I finished taking evidence, and now I just have to write my recommendation.
Oh, well, I look forward to reading it.
I heard you've been reviewing some of my judgments.
Did you?
I finished my career with an impeccable reputation, and I stand by my record. I wonder if you'll be able to say the same.
Is that supposed to intimidate me?
It's supposed to put you on notice.
Of what?
My findings could be very damning. But I'm offering you one last chance. Resign now and go back to private practice. And I will turn down my report, and you might be able to salvage something of your career.
I'm not going anywhere.
Then we shall await the decision of the Bar Association. Good night, Miss King. Pleasant dreams.
Sorry, excuse me, I don't even know your first name.
Robert. Friends call me Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Where was it?
Taped up underneath the desk.
We found this. Over 84,000 photos.
Fucking hell.
You are days away from facing a criminal record, and you have the gall to stand there and tell me what's appropriate?
Well, can't you make it lunchtime? That won't be nearly so obvious. All right, yep, 9 a.m. No, not on the phone.
Can you talk to him? You used to work with him, please. Please.
Please, just give him a day or two. I know it'll work out better.
I'm not running this prosecution to find out who bombed your car.
What if it was blackmail?
That would mean that Owen's the one controlling everything.
Exactly.
What do we got?
Not sure.
Shit.